Thanks game though. Finally we are in game. Sorry for the slight delays here, guys. We are just waiting for players to ready, pick maps, etc. Anyways, we do have to the top left hand side our blue Terran player from Root Gaming. It is Kelazhur. And his opponent down to the bottom right hand side, the red Terran player, is aLive. Feels when I need to go in an hour and can't just watch StarCraft all day. Feels bad, man, says Lucidity Dark. Oh, feels pretty bad, man. I can get behind that. Watching StarCraft all day is the dream. It's the dream. Man, it's so weird casting in my kind of studio, because for the last 2 weeks there's not been anyone around because it's been Christmas and New Year's and stuff. And now there's people in again, and I keep hearing noise and I'm like, whoa, whoa, there's people in the building. Ah! Anyways, look at the way Kelazhur is going to open up here in this TvT. Already going to be throwing down 2 proxied barracks to the bottom side of Catalyst. So already going to be going on into a very aggressive way to start up this series as we get this going. Well, obviously aLive will have to find a way to defend this. He has an interesting position for the proxy racks. I guess a lot of entry points over on this left-hand side. Oftentimes you will see kind of barracks over here and just using this position to jump up, but to be fair, over here makes sense as well because there is so many ways to jump up in towards this main base. Well, rip on the way from both players here. Factory on the way out for aLive at the moment as well. So he's going straight on into this. So at least he is going for fast factory, which will help to deflect this. With only 2 barracks here, Kelazhur will be able to transition at home in towards a factory of his own. Into generally Cyclone production is what you go for. As we will see first Reaper popping, and well, aLive without a scout actually might be in some trouble if Kelazhur just stacks up Reapers, comes in with 2 or 3 at once. Especially if he's going to get up into the high ground and oh, well, aLive's just going to move on the map. So that's definitely going to cause some problems here. Okay, he actually pulls back. Cyclone on the way initially though, which means Kelazhur will have quite a lot of time to harass and deal damage as this Reaper pulls back from aLive pretty darn quick. Grenade goes down and SCV's just being blasted around at the moment. More Reapers on the way in. First SCV kill there for Kelazhur. And we see him trying for more SCV kills. Good keeping alive the Reaper so far, which is very important in all of this. Although the new Reaper pops in not so great of a position, gets targeted very low, doesn't quite go down. But now with 3 Reapers, they will 2-shot those workers. So the worker count, or the kill count will go up. Cyclone comes into play. Nice grenade, but doesn't quite save that Reaper in time. It does just go down before escaping to the top. Kelazhur going to keep gathering his Reapers together. Ooh, aLive has to be careful though. His own Reapers here, 2 of them are very, I mean, now they're both very low. And this one, as it jumps up to the high ground, will go down as well. And some painful losses as the factory finishes for Kelazhur at home. And he can go into Cyclone production. Now starting up the starport as well to help him, well, maybe harass Viv, but can also defend against the potential Liberator or something from aLive. And it is indeed going to be a Liberator for aLive right now. Marines, Cyclone and Hellion are just going to be gathering up in the main base. Barracks are going to lift and move around here. You see the Hellions, the Reapers, going to move forwards and work their way through this supply depot. Cyclone tries to poke forwards, doesn't do enough just yet. Grenades keep on coming down. We're going to see that supply depot gets picked away at here. Just going to be seeing these Marines still doing some damage. I mean, just picking away at that barracks, just information here. Kelazhur can decide if he really wants to poke in or be aggressive at all. And well, I mean, not really, but if you can get a bit of damage, you may as well go for it, right? And that's basically kind of his idea right now as he tries to just pick away towards the depot. Some ups and downs, some grenades being thrown. I mean, eventually this barracks goes down. And back at home, well, he's got 1 Cyclone up, a second coming through. I mean, for Viking as well, this Liberator shouldn't really be able to do too much at all. Liberator will see jump on the natural, still delay the CC, but I mean that's really pretty much all it's going to do right away here. As now 2 Cyclones and the Viking pushing across. It's funny that we do end up basically seeing the natural expansion of Kelazhur basically coming in a lot faster than from aLive. aLive even just going in towards a siege tank now with a medevac on the way out as well. I wonder if his plan is just to kind of get into a position where he tries to push and end this game sometime soon. It's definitely a possibility. Kelazhur building up a Raven. Something you don't see all of the time either. One thing Kelazhur is behind on is, well, these setups, the tech lab onto the factory, the reactor onto the barracks. Another grenade coming down, a couple of grenades coming down here and there. Blasting those Cyclones all over the place so far. And there's Reapers going to gather in the center now, another grenade, but Cyclones just drive straight past it. And the Reapers are still nice to keep alive as, oh my god, the Liberator's here to catch those Reapers if they come up this way. And so the Reapers really do take quite a bit of damage. In the end, we didn't actually see our Red Terran player alive end up pushing too aggressively or anything like I said he might try and go for. As we do see now, he's going to start pushing across though, just as I say that. So obviously, feels as though now perhaps is the time. I mean, look at the army supply advantage, 35 to 20, and that's where Kelazhur will lag behind at the moment. He's got a Raven up, but how does that help? 3 Cyclones apiece. The Viking helps a little bit. Now he's going to lose the Reapers. He's got his own tank on the way. He does have defender's advantage, but I think that Kelazhur might just not have enough anyways. Like, if aLive feels as though he has enough, he could just bully his way into a very strong position here. Let's see if that's going to be the case as that tank sieges up in the natural scan right away from Kelazhur. Well, you got to remember as well, there is the Raven coming out, or it is out already, so Interference Matrix can come into play here also. We are going to be seeing how it wants to, or what it wants to do in the next couple of moments, and it drops the Interference Matrix on one siege tank right away. SCV's being pulled in. Kelazhur realized he needs to pull SCVs in to survive this. We'll start to push this back. Another tank is going to be protected by his second tank, basically. CC in a little bit of trouble as the Viking will chase away this Cyclone and a couple of Marines. They're going to drop and go for another SCV kill or two. aLive taking a worker lead behind this, although he will lose out on the rest of his units, but man, still getting another couple of workers at the end. 15 workers killed, and now tanks going to drop on top of tanks over here. And that's going to be a kill right there, and these 2 tanks maybe can even still just run away. I mean, he actually outnumbers pretty much everything Kelazhur has at the moment, at the front line at least. 2 tanks going to move on forwards, and aLive is going to be chased away through the center of the map. Command center building on the 3rd base. aLive continue to set up here, just off of this 1-1-1 setup. Hasn't even added production just yet. Doesn't need to, going into the free CC and setting up. Kelazhur actually has a 3rd CC of his own though already, so that does help him out a little bit. Those couple of tanks will be sieging up, and a couple of barracks starting to get built as well. Another couple of racks starting to build on up. The engineering base getting thrown down behind this natural mineral line, and aLive still just setting up with these tanks and these Marines. See what else he can do. 2 more barracks on the way up in the main base, and just getting those set up and ready to go. As you do see this Viking patrolling off over to the left-hand side. Marines moving around from Kelazhur as well. Just trying to take some map control at this stage always is an important part of the TvT, to know where those attacks might come from, to know where your opponent's army is, because then you can respond to it. If you know where they are, you know where the potential doom drop is coming from, etc., and you can keep much better track. So we'll see how that continues on. Marines just putting themselves into some positions from now, as there is a Marine also through the center of the map from aLive, coming up here to try and, well, again, poke around, see what he can do over the next couple of minutes as extra barracks get thrown down as well. It's going to be 5 racks in total, and we're just going to be seeing still those few Vikings moving on with the tanks. It is bio play from aLive, so not really a reason to be moving out with pure tank Viking, but obviously just feels as though he has enough to get into a position. Doesn't feel as though Kelazhur, I mean he's right, of course. I mean, there's no stim just yet. There's no way to really punish these tanks, I suppose. There isn't a large enough Marine force on the map for Kelazhur to really push this back. Overall, though, Kelazhur is getting back in the game. Only 4 workers behind. His army supply only trailing slightly, to the point where one bad fight from aLive could definitely put Kelazhur right back into this, as Kelazhur actually unsieges those tanks. I'm not sure if he sees this attack coming in. I think he didn't actually, because he was actually in a position to fight against those tanks as they sieged before. And those tanks just denying a refinery here on Catalyst. As Kelazhur will take his 3rd base on this left-hand side, so expanding forwards. A little bit of a different way to play this out, a bit of a different position to take that expansion. There's a scan here from Kelazhur, and it's very difficult for him to fight this. Now he's going to come in though with those Sim Marines. I mean, now Stim is done, and so while aLive was definitely in the right to be able to push initially, getting away is a little bit tougher with that Stim pack in play. And he loses a few Vikings forward. The tank's still alive, but you know, losing the air control does give Kelazhur a little bit more freedom than he had when the air control was kind of locked down in aLive's favor. Marines and tanks are going to continue to pull down the left-hand side here. We're going to see a few Marines in the center of the map from aLive as well, taking down just a couple of Marines. himself now kind of gathering together and seeing where he can go. The upgrade's also not too far apart. As long as Kelazhur isn't too slow and it's 2-2, he would be fine, but he has no armory. And so he's actually going to be very delayed on +2/+2, and that's really going to make him, well, put him into a very difficult position here in terms of moving forward. So scans on both sides. I mean, for now it doesn't matter, but again, as soon as 2-2 does finish up from aLive, it's going to be a huge advantage that aLive has that Kelazhur won't have for so very long. As tanks and siege once again here, aLive going to pull into the center once more. I mean, Kelazhur have a very good spread here to just defend on all fronts. But man, he really, really needs this armory, and oh, he also needs to not throw Marines in like this. I mean, that's 9-10 Marines that go down without doing anything at all. Kelazhur was definitely finding his way back into this, but a couple mistakes here and there are really starting to show. And aLive is really starting to take advantages because of it, as these tanks siege up as well. Kelazhur still just about out of range for now. So you see those tanks firing once or twice again. Pulling back a little bit here. These tanks are going to siege up once more. Vikings still firing away. Marines are going to stem on in. Obviously aLive feels as though you can just go for this here. And honestly, he isn't wrong. He breaks through the tank count so very quickly, and Kelazhur's Marines are not standing much of a chance. He pulls to the left-hand side when he sees that the tanks are positioned to the right from his opponent, and so continues to take this fight very efficiently, to the point where even this third base might end up going down. If it doesn't, well, he's going to lose a lot of SCVs trying to save it. GG. aLive will take the first game of this massive break. Not trying to throw loads of gate breaks on kind of between games today. We are just very, very behind in terms of ads per hour at the moment. So just going to be trying to catch up a little bit with where we want to be at. As we have to the bottom right-hand side, our Red Terran player, My Insanity, is alive. His opponent to the top left, the Blue Terran from Root Gaming, is Kelazhur. Alright, so game 2 of this TvT, I just have to tab. A 2-minute break with a 3-minute stream delay does not really make running ads easy, so we'll be back with game sounds in 3, 2, and 1. There we go. Just had to tab to run those ads nice and quick. Again, thank you for sitting through those. I really do appreciate it. If you are enjoying the game today, well, of course, first of all, you can support the tournament on Matcherino, !Matcherino in the chat. Do appreciate that. And, of course, if you want to check out the stream in the future, hit that follow button. We are fast approaching 25,000 followers. And honestly, with the big streams that we have this weekend, we really could hit 25,000 followers this weekend. So, go, hit that follow button if you haven't already. And, of course, if you really are enjoying the stream, you can support in all of the usual ways here on Twitch. You can subscribe to the channel. You can donate. You can cheer. You can subscribe with Twitch Prime for free. There's a whole bunch of bonus and all the rest of it, if you'd like. Dark Ones of the Cheer 500 says, here's the 1 hour of ads. Dude, thank you so much for the Cheer 500. It's not honestly so much about... it's honestly not so much about kind of the money from the ads. It's more that actually we have quotas for my Twitch partnership, my Twitch contract, that I'm supposed to try and run this many ads per hour if I'm streaming, to be able for for certain partnership levels, etc. So that's why. But thank you for the Cheer 500, appreciate it, mate. There's some Wardy hearts in the chat, please, for the Dark Ones. So far, stream hero of the day. You already have a balloon. You're not getting a second balloon. I'm sorry, I don't have enough balloons for that. Well, okay, I have quite a lot of balloons, but you never know how crazy it might get. Factory is on the way up here and is just going to be finishing. It is an expansion-focused play from aLive, as it is also the same from Kelazhur. Cyclone already on the way up here from our Red Terran. Going to be a reacted set of Hellions, I guess, actually from Kelazhur initially. It's just going to be setting up in towards that. 2 Hellions currently on the way out. 2 Hellions coming on through here already. Being ready to go, and just going to be seeing the Hellions popping out in a moment or so. What happens if TLO and Kelazhur get identical results and they played 1-1? So it comes down to some other tie-breaking features. I believe... I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there is process in play, and also it will come down to basically maybe if they win a map against someone, that was their home map or so. I'm honestly not in a great position to answer that at the moment. I'll try and get an update for you, Valentine, but there is kind of things in play that will figure that out. So there is something that will eventually tell us that. As you do see a Cyclone just on the way from aLive. I mean, he's already got 1 out, if I'm not mistaken. different ways of playing here, obviously, with those reacted Hellions into a Raven even from Kelazhur. This is really not a TvT build I'm too familiar with myself as of late. TvT's been a lot of experimental builds of players. Some of them do try out the Raven, some still try and just play kind of Mass Cyclone. Right here, this is kind of like Mass Cyclone from aLive, going into the fast free CC, and this is actually pretty much one of the most standard sort of meta-focused games I've seen as of late. Hellions coming in, nibbling away at that Cyclone. Hellions coming to the center, and we do see this Reaper continue to head in towards the upper left. Look to see what else he can do. More Cyclones on the way out. And there's going to be a couple of armories from aLive as well, which will help a lot. And if Kelazhur is trying to go into Cyclones of his own, he needs to make sure he isn't behind on the armories, because if he is, that will not bode well for him. So far, it kind of feels as though Kelazhur, everything he's done is just behind. You know, third CC is way later. The one thing he has is an army supply advantage, but can he actually do something with that, considering that he's mostly on Hellions? Well, I guess it's going to have something to do with this Raven, which will have double Interference Matrix available to drop in a few seconds. And I guess the idea might be to Interference Matrix 2 of these Cyclones. And if he matrixes 2 of those Cyclones, that's 2 Cyclones of his own, maybe he could turn this around. Maybe he could make this something that actually does work out here. Well, here we go. The 2 Cyclones come in. The Raven doesn't even matrix so far. Doesn't feel the need to. And oh, Kelazhur makes this push on towards the third base. He picks off an SCV, another couple of SCVs going down. Still, Interference Matrix is available, and I think that has to be one of the key parts of this push forwards from Kelazhur at some point when he decides to go and die for the fight. There we go, Interference Matrix on one of those Cyclones and on 2. Makes this just a much better trade continuing through. Even a Viking now landing and joined the fray already. 8 workers killed. This will start to become a much better fight, of course, for aLive, as we are going to be seeing the Cyclones will lock onto that Viking as well, which will try to get away. He loses vision because of this blocker in the sky. As the Cyclones, though, will get chased to the point of death. One of them going down, the other seeming to get away. Stimpak behind it from Kelazhur. He's going to transition into bio play, but the damage done, very nice. 5 worker lead now taken by Kelazhur. As we're going to be seeing the couple of Cyclones continue to move on through the middle. So maybe aLive looking for some counter damage after, well, killing off quite a bit of Kelazhur. To be fair, he lost pretty much everything that he had on his side of the map. So maybe looking to see if you can do something about that, as a couple of SCVs will just repair up a Viking for the moment. So Viking getting repaired on up for now, and meanwhile we're going to be seeing Bio versus Mech. I mean, not surprising considering we saw kind of Mass Cyclone play so far out of aLive. So not really too surprising to be seeing more of that. And continuing in towards that Mech play. Bio from Kelazhur, well, obviously we'll get the chance to see just how that matches up here as we continue on through. So the Cyclones continue to get set up, and we are going to be seeing 4 Hellions around the left side. Will be shut down pretty quickly, not able to find a good run by position here. So they're going to back off. Kelazhur just going in towards more of these barracks. 59 to 57 workers. I mean, the game is pretty even moving forwards. The Mech in play with an upgrade lead at the moment is obviously kind of intriguing. We'll see if that becomes anything else moving forwards. For now, though, well, I guess he is going to keep up on those upgrades. I mean, the upgrades are just so good for Cyclones because of how fast they attack, etc. So that's kind of a big deal. As we do see those Cyclones just again sat to the top side. 2 Marines coming in. We are going to see that Hellion is going to get taken down nice and quickly. Kelazhur shuts it down here. As we do see, just 2-2 continue to come on in from aLive at the moment. So 2-2 continue coming in right there as the Hellions managing to burn a Marine as he goes. The Smart Service upgrade from aLive also coming through at the moment, about halfway done, along with the Infinite Pre-Igniter. Really just everything he needs for the mech play, building a 4th base in position. And Kelazhur not even taking much of a presence out on the map at the moment with this bio. And, you know, it is Abyssal Reef. It is a difficult map to kind of take a presence on. It is a difficult map to kind of attack on into as well, I suppose, in general. So, for now, not going to be seeing too much from Kelazhur. He's just going to sit back, and I guess at some point he has to push, though. Combat shield's finishing, so honestly now might not be a bad idea. He wasn't sieging, which is obviously a bit of an indicator that he's going to be moving out as well. And there you do have it, Bio moving out in towards the center of the map from Kelazhur. Some tanks coming in at the tail end of this army, and Kelazhur already turns and picks off one of these Cyclones here, so Cyclone gets picked off. Some Hellions still sat over to the left-hand side and ready to run up in towards this third base over the next few moments. The problem is, where do you actually attack? So many tanks sieging up here out the front of the fourth base, and we are going to be seeing, well, Kelazhur just position himself still with units at the front. He's actually going to load up these medevacs, and oh my god, those tanks are alone. He's going to be able to drop on top of them, and maybe this is the way that Kelazhur gets in position on the fourth. Well, I mean, obviously the fourth for now can just lift up, but, well, tanks are going to be able to come back into position over here. Now Kelazhur holds this spot. Let's see what he can perhaps do with it. The problem is he only has 3 tanks to really hold position with. Is not a lot, to the point where aLive even says, yeah, I can fight this. And he is going to start trying to push on in. He's actually losing a few Hellbats to the run forwards and interference matrix on one of the tanks, which are now all out of range of this army. And yet aLive is still trying to fight it. Kelazhur taking a very good trade, picks off all of the Hellbats. I mean, Hellbats are somewhat expendable as a meching player, but you still don't want to just be throwing them away for nothing here, and that definitely was what happened just then. Kelazhur very carefully, I say, as he runs from more Marines in, but with this set of units he was very careful to not be baited in towards tank fire. Some of those tanks are going to push further forwards, and Kelazhur will have to be careful. Now he scans it and he will see it. Obviously still realizes that he's just out of tank range, even if this one tank, that one unfortunately does go into range, and the Viking vision will be good here for aLive to be able to see that happening at this point in time. Raven's going to drop down interference matrices, and oh my god, all the frontline tanks are going to get caught in that. Kelazhur's not going to be able to push in with more tanks in the back line. He kind of just has to sit there, as we are going to be seeing the Raven finally picked off. Maybe Kelazhur can push up in towards the natural now, or maybe he just regroups in general. His medevacs are sat in the center, afraid of those Vikings picking away at them, chipping away over time. So he just sits back with those, not going to bring them into the fight just yet. Medevacs loading up once again. Marines and Marauders tanks all joining up into those medevacs and looking to see what they can do. To the bottom left-hand side, there is a barracks just sat overhead here, just, I guess, scouting around for something like a drop. And oh my god, Kelazhur's going to fly right on into it. So aLive, oh, he actually only sees a little bit of it, doesn't see too much. aLive is pushing forwards though, and so aLive getting into a position where now Kelazhur really has to do something with this. And he is going to start unloading. Honestly, Kelazhur should try and get on top of the production, stop any further units from coming into play here, because that would be very important in this sort of scenario. Kelazhur probably could have pushed in towards those tanks there. Instead he doesn't, and he maybe misses out on an opportunity. Meanwhile, this planetary fortress is going to go down. I mean, just way too much damage output there for anything to really be protected. New Vikings coming in actually from our blue Terran player, from the bio player, picks up a medevac already, a Liberator. And you know what? If the Viking count is good, the Liberators will eventually be able to hold this off. I mean, right now a Cyclone trying to help out, but it goes down. There's one more Cyclone to the left, 2 more actually, which got rid of the Liberator in the end. The Liberators can still do something here over time. As Kelazhur, he's cleaned out a base of his own. Remember, he can also push towards this third base. Problem is he can't go up that ramp. And that's why I maybe feel as though maybe the production right away would have been a good call. Shut that down nice and quickly. 3-3 upgrades are also on this low ground, which he could definitely get rid of if he was to pay attention to it and actually to move into that location. Cyclone's trying to pick away at Vikings. Tanks forced to unsiege here because of the drop coming in. Kelazhur takes it as a chance to try and clean up a few more of these units. Even the Vikings landing right now, and he will be able to start cleaning this out. Kelazhur is going to push through this army. Still has units over here. aLive is, I guess the difference is aLive actually has the fourth base still alive. Kelazhur actually just straight up lost his. There's one tank on the third, but only on the third. So Kelazhur will be able to get a bit more eco damage done, picking away at a few SCVs before the entirety of this is shut down. At the end of the day, aLive is coming out ahead on the ahead overall though. And that base gets back into position, and aLive equal on works ahead in army supply with money in the bank to spare as well. Kelazhur, I mean, just made a couple mistakes. You know, armories could have been taken down. Maybe he could have jumped on the factories faster. He could have engaged this army here so much sooner as well. Obviously, it's much easier for us to see because we can see what units there are. We can see what units are where. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, it's obviously going to be frustrating for us to see if you're a Kelazhur fan because it looks as though he could have done more, but maybe he obviously didn't see the same potential we did with his own vision. Now you're going to see these units from Kelazhur coming over to the right-hand side, and they're probably going to look to try and break their way through these rocks and to open an attack path in towards the fourth, where honestly, there's not really anything at all. And aLive is reliant currently mostly on these sensor towers to keep him up to date with what's going on and where. And actually, this entire mech army is still out of position. He has this push forwards. I mean, already Hellbat's going down, and he's just going to start targeting down this base. The tank falls. And this planetary is going to go down. What does aLive do? Just counter-attack, I suppose? Well, obviously, a lot of SCVs will go down the process, and you'll see those couple of tanks as well, and you'll see there's nothing supporting them. He actually pulls back, but only in towards more of this army. He'll get rid of some Vikings as he goes, maybe still looking to rely on a Viking count and Liberator play of his own here in the near future. Well, Kelazhur is now denied the 4th base as he had denied of him. And he's actually still kiting away to the point where he's going to get more Vikings. Again, I think the Vikings are a really huge thing to pick off here because their control can really swing games. And they really can put some interesting scenarios on the board. Well, now aLive, though, has the momentum to keep on pushing across, but will he be able to have enough to break on through? I mean, there's a good amount of tanks. Kelazhur is set up with a good chunk of army of his own. Plus 3 attack and plus 1 armor currently from Kelazhur. Missing that second armor upgrade. Oh, he's going to, well, get a tank already. Couple of Vikings from the right-hand side. That's the thing. Kelazhur needs to chip away at these tanks. Maybe before they siege, etc. The less tanks there is, the better a time he's going to have in general. As we are going to see, Hellbat's going to start pushing forwards. Again, the Hellbats just disappear, though. Because now we're going to see Kelazhur even pulling SCVs to try and survive this right now. Oh, there's so many siege tanks that are just doing so much damage. It's a very, very close hold from Kelazhur, like to the point where he may have just about been able to do it. A single Marine drops down. He's able to get the Liberators here. 7 workers down after that SCV pull. He is going to survive. And aLive is pushed back. And we are seeing some real crazy games here from Kelazhur today. His game against TLO and Ascension Aya was insane. And on Blackpink, honestly. And now we're seeing even more of it as well. This is really insane right now. And as we are going to be having those couple of tanks pulling around the right-hand side. Going to be looking to siege up in a couple of moments. Some Vikings moving up the right as well. This Bioforce is going to be unloading and getting ready to deal with the potential units moving forwards. Vikings pushing that medevac away. The final set of upgrades finished up from aLive, so now he is fully upgraded. An armor upgrade missing from Kelazhur here, as we do see 2 libs are going to look to harass around. I mean, try and just soak up some of the some of the Vikings, keep them busy. I mean, you kill 5-6 SCVs here. This is already going to be quite a success. 6 SCVs going down. I think that is quite a success, especially in a game that's so low eco at this stage. It's very important. 2 Hellions back around the right, and we are going to be seeing a few 4s still on the way out. Mostly 4s being made, I guess. Maybe aware that this tank count is okay. He just doesn't want to die off to Liberators or something. I mean, that's definitely what Kelazhur has been trying to do at points of this, although now he's not continued to build Liberators. He's actually been focusing on mostly bioproduction. He's actually looking to be the player who's getting aggressive here. Nice Marauder concussive shells will slow those Hellions down. Well, actually, in the end, it gets away. I mean, it's a very exposed mineral line here as a scan will reveal just a position that Kelazhur cannot really justify attacking into. He has found ways to attack around his opponent before already. A couple of SCVs going down, and you're going to be seeing Kelazhur pulling back in towards the middle of the map here. So Kelazhur pulls back in towards the middle of the map. 3 more mules are going to be dropping in towards the 4th base. I mean, Kelazhur's army supply is just trailing. 15 army supply down. Playing against mech, such an efficient supply composition, well, you know, it's going to be very difficult to really do much here. Kelazhur starts to take the fight and realizes there's just too many tanks sieging. And it looks as though this is probably not going to be able to do enough right now. Tanks still firing away, and more tanks from the south side going to start sieging up, and oh, here we go, pushing on through, but not going to be enough. GG well played, and aLive will pick up this 2-0